much for tuning in to the Financial Griot, better known as TFG. So here in this podcast, what we love to do is to tell stories that other people don't. So stories that share our growth, opportunity, and understanding. So beyond the talk of finances, this is really about being financially literate, incorporating actionable steps, and ultimately building generational wealth. So welcome and thanks again for tuning in. I am Alainta. So as you guys may be familiar, I do have two other co-hosts, but unfortunately they're not present. Lawrence Delva Gonzalez is out there being toxic. I don't know what he's talking about Black people on Fox News. Who knows? He's somewhere out there. And then you have my other co-host, Miss Lovely Mordelis, and she's just building her empire, which we just love. She's doing a great job in the back end. But, ultimately and collectively, both of my co-hosts are doing great jobs. The neighborhood finance guy is picking up traction on his website. He just keeps sharing financial resources. And Love is just helping scaling small business owners. That's what we do. That's why we're here. But yeah, so it's just only me, solo dolo, by myself. I'm here, but I also just wanted to catch you guys up. I know Lawrence been calling me out, being a little MIA, but I've been MIA in a good way. I am working on the back end of the TFG future. So our future is looking very bright as we speak. Just securing some guests. Yes, you heard correctly, guests, plural. And some more things that's looking great for the podcast. And I'm really excited. Like, I can't give you guys just much thank yous. Lawrence mentioned in the last episode is that within, a month, I think we had like 500 downloads. So we're, peaking up to 2 months with the podcast, and it's been over 600 downloads. I'm pretty surprised that the podcast is picking up attraction, but guys, wow, it's been really cool that people are really receptive to the podcast and to us and to our banter and conversations and discussions and wisdom. So that's been really cool. I'm extremely grateful that you guys are listening and downloading and giving us your feedback and constructive criticism, right? So on behalf of the entire TFG crew, from the bottom of our hearts, thank you. Yes, you, the one that's listening to this episode as we speak. Thank you for downloading, for tuning in, for listening, for sharing, leaving your reviews. Thank you. We can't be, any more appreciative. This is something that I'm just extremely happy that everyone is getting some, form of knowledge or advice and all that good stuff. So thank you once again. We're picking up. That's what I like to see and like to hear. So yeah, it's been a good road thus far, right? So yeah, going back to me, it's only me here on the podcast. So MIA, but I'm back. So just working on the background for the podcast, securing guests. So I've been labeled my title, not so much of a title because no one actually gave me the title, but a little PR for the podcast. So I'm really excited on the future of TFG and the Financial Griot. Yeah, so let's get to it with the current episode. So you guys already know that we discuss finances and we discuss money and stories, all that good stuff. But a lot of times too is we like to touch on like different topics as well. So while thinking about a topic that I wanted to discuss today, I was thinking about how we can show up for ourselves, right? Lawrence has a blog post that he written on his website, which is the Neighborhood Finance Guy. If you haven't touched on it, make sure you browse, click, all that good stuff. But one of his blogs, writing articles that I really like, and it's titled "For the Little Black Boys Who Dream of Suicide." Really transparent, honest, authentic, and he really shows you his life trajectory and how it caused and impacted him of being the man he is today. But within that article, he has a quote that I really like, and it says, "Show up for others like you wanted someone to show up for you." I love that because if anyone knows me, I love to serve. I love to help people, but I never place it in a way where, like, hey, I need to show up for someone as if I wanted someone to show up for me. Right. And it just makes me look at serving and helping people, because there was no one to help me, or I didn't see others in that way to help me, if that makes sense. Because sometimes the difficult times in your life, it's really hard to kind of extend help or ask for assistance if you don't see the relatability in with someone. So that was a hard thing to kind of overcome. But going back to serving others, I love that quote, but I also want to just peel it back, is showing up for others like you wanted someone to show up for yourself. How do you show up for yourself though? How does that look like? And that's something I've been thinking about for a while. Like, what is that showing up for others? And for me, and I kind of took that as you parent yourself. A lot of things that I had to come to find is that my childhood was very toxic. And a lot of things I had to unlearn, a lot of negative things I had to unlearn, entering adulthood, proper guidance, knowledge, applying knowledge into everyday things that I had to do. So how do you show up for yourself? And essentially it's just being a parent. And what does that look like, right? So if you follow me on social media, you know that I am back in the gym. I am a gym junkie. I do enjoy being at the gym. I just do not like waking up for the gym. Right. I work a regular 9 to 5, 8 to 5, actually. And so in order for me to, get a good workout in and make it to work on time and beat traffic and commuting and all that good stuff, is I gotta wake up mad early, like 4:30 early, 4:30, just to lay around in bed and be up by 5. And by 5:15, 5:30, I'm in the gym. So that takes a lot of effort and a lot of motivation, right? So that goes along with parenting yourself, showing up for myself. I don't always enjoy it. It gets a little, nerve-wracking sometimes because it's a lot of things you have to manage. Getting back, getting dressed, going to work, commuting, showing up for your job. These are the things that kind of make us who we are, right? We are essentially showing up for ourselves every day. But when you think about it, it's not in a way where it's like force. It's not force per se. It's in a matter of something that you have to do. Something that you have to do. And when I think of the quote of show up for others, if you want someone to show up for yourself, is I have to do this to help someone else be better. And I think about my childhood. I think about the negative things that I had to relearn. And I also think about how can I be that person for someone else? So that first have to start with me being a proactive person. And I think about that, about how I have come to, all this progression if you want to say, this progress in my life. And I want to share my experience and my stories with someone else to prevent them from making the same mistakes or to help them make better decisions. Show up for yourself. And I place that in a way of, of course, this is a finance podcast of what does in layman's term it looks like for money, or it looks like for your financial future, right? As we know, the wealth gap and inequality is far from our generation and things that we are all dealing with when it comes to finance and creating wealth, right? So some just place some statistics out there for you is that the typical white family own about $184,000 in family wealth, while the typical Black family own 23,000, and a typical Hispanic family own $38,000. Whew, that's some hard numbers. And as you can see, that gap between wealth and different races is real. And when I think about showing up for yourself, I think about preparation. I think about how can I position myself to not only show up for me, but show up for someone that is looking for someone like me in a sense of direction, in a sense of knowledge, in a sense of assisting, and of course, serving. And I think about all the times that I wanted others to show up for me when I was younger. Someone that looks like me, someone that could be very transparent and honest. I didn't get a lot of that. So that has been my motivation of showing up for myself, because I am not only helping myself, I'm helping someone else to be better, much better, making better decisions than I have done for myself. So some actionable steps that I also want to place for you guys is, how does that actually look of showing up for yourself? What does that look like? Like, just break it down, layman's term, just showing up for yourself. So what I always like to do, and this is any exercise if you're interested, if I'm feeling down, or if I don't know why I feel a certain way, or I feel stuck, right? Exercise that I love to do, kind of, give me that prep, makes me feel good, is I write down all my accomplishments. It could be something new, it could be something old, it could be from 10 years ago, who knows, right? I write down all my accomplishments. Like, what have I actually achieved? It could be a small goal. I had one goal, this is years ago, is when I just started drinking tea, because I did not like tea at all when I started drinking it back in college. But I learned that it's just so great for your digestive health. And I was like, okay. So I download this app and it reminds you, to drink water. So I just replaced the water with the tea. So over time, I started seeing like, oh wow, I drank 4 cups of tea this week, or 5 cups of tea. And I start seeing that progression I start making. I'm like, okay, I could do this. And just with time, I got better. And it didn't even include the app to remind me, because my body just got so used to drinking tea. So that was just like a small goal and accomplishment. And then, of course, over time, it went from living and moving to the, across the world. I lived in South Korea for almost 2 years, I think. Yeah, 2 years. And that always been a dream of mine. And I actually accomplished it. Getting my master's and also buying a home, another accomplishment that I I didn't even think of it being an accomplishment at the time. Just thought that, okay, this is what people do, whatever. But it made me feel good, the fact that I placed a goal out there and I actually achieved it. Something small, remind yourself to go to the gym, to something big, you purchased a home or you paid off credit card debt. So I love to write down my accomplishments because either small or big, you actually achieved it. At that point in time, or whatever you're writing down that you accomplished, you showed up for yourself. You placed the time, the work, the effort into achieving your goals. So that's an exercise that I love to use, and I continuously use it because it makes me feel good to know that I've done it before and I could do it now to show up for myself. A second exercise is just write down what you want to achieve, like your to-do list, right? Big or small. We're wrapping up the last leg of the year, right? Entering the holiday season. Are you trying to pay off credit card debt? Are you trying to save more money? Or are you trying to increase your contribution for your retirement account? Whatever that you're trying to do, write it down. We don't emphasize how much power the pen and paper has. I always like to come back when I think about law of attraction, or I think about just writing down your goals, is that we learn to spell words essentially because words are spells. You have to write down, what do you want to do? It could be small, get up for the gym, go to the gym one time this week, or it could be big. I want to travel such and such country, or I want to do this huge summit, create this huge summit, whatever it may be, write it down. There's power to the pen, and there's more great power when you're actually placing your intentions with your goal. And the last thing is to reach out to someone. It's number 3. Is showing up for yourself is to reach out to someone, because a lot of times we just don't have the answers, and that's okay. But most times too, because we don't have the answers, can be our detriment. We don't reach out to people who may have the answers or who can guide us to better answers. There's someone out there who's willing to help you, and most times there are strangers. They're willing to help you. What is your goal? What do you want to do? Who can be the best person to help you achieve that goal or get closer to that goal? That is what it takes to show up for yourself, is proactively placing actionable steps to get you to where you want to be. It could be small or it could be big. Whichever that it is, you're still showing up for yourself. You're giving yourself a chance that no one else have given you when you was younger. You're positioning yourself to be better. And with better and with time, you're progressing. That's showing up for yourself, in my opinion. I think so. That's showing up for yourself. And to go back to the quote, is when you show up for yourself, you're showing up for others too. Because someone looking at you, someone can see that you're evolving, see that you're progressing, and they want to reach out. Or just being an example of who you are, pushing yourself to be great or to be better. You're showing up for someone too. And I think that sometimes too, we don't share enough. And that's another episode. It's moving in silence, right? L is lasagna, whatever it's called. So we don't share. And what's happening is that within, most Black and Brown communities, um, sharing and keeping things to ourselves is just such a disservice. So I challenge you to not only show up for yourself, but reach out to others that can help you show up for them as well. As all folks, I'm going to wrap it up there. But I will say too, is staying motivated can be tough. And I do understand that. but give yourself a chance. No, seriously, give yourself a chance. Show up for yourself. Who else better going to parent you but you, right? Essentially. So the last part is you either can be your biggest asset or your biggest liability. So once again, I challenge you to show up for yourself. All right, guys. So I'll leave you with that. Again, my name's Alainta, and thank you once again for tuning in to the Financial Griot, TFG for short. You can find me on the YouTube streets at it's Alainta, ITS, Alainta, ALAINTA. Thank you again. And I'm wrapping it up. Find everyone else on TFG. Make sure you leave a review. Let me know what you guys think. I really appreciate it. And for that note, I am out. Peace.
Thank you for listening to the Financial Griot podcast, powered by the Wealth Builders Collective.